Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing swell, Bob, and a happy Walt Kelly's birthday to you and everybody out
Well,
there in the ether.
okay. So happy Walt Kelly's birthday to you. Let's talk about it. Well, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff tonight, but you're in the mood for it. So here you go. Here is Walt Kelly's birthday for you. Is this what you were looking for?
Oh, yeah, that's it. That is from our friend Z Fish and her birthday tribute to Walt Kelly. I've seen thousands of tributes to Walt over the decades. Wally Woods was the best and easily the grossest. But being next to Wally Wood, that's a
Sure.
pretty damn high honor. D, that
Uh,
is beautiful. I hope you're watching.
yeah. So yeah, that is by D Fish, who is a good friend of the show. And that's on her Substack. If you want to go find it, it's not that hard to put D Fish. Finding D Substack is where you can find that. Um, some other news of the day. While it is Walt Kelly's birthday, and that's a great piece of information. There we do have a loss today, and I think we'd be remiss not to point out or pay some attention to the fact that Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80, and she was ill for a little bit and passed away, and it's sad. There's a lot of people who had a lot of strong feelings for her. Certainly, um, you know, made a huge impact on many musicians who exist today, as well as actors. And I enjoyed her presence. I was not a connoisseur of all things Dolly, but whenever she showed up, she certainly made it entertaining.
She was and will continue to be a major influence in music writing and performance, particularly in the writing.
Sure.
And this was true when 10 years ago when Chuck Berry died. People focused on his music, as well they should. That's easy. Focus on the lyric, you'll learn something. Her
Oh,
lyric
sure.
was brilliant.
And she was also smart about it too. Like there were things that she learned, she knew about protecting her intellectual property way back before people were even thinking about it.
Most people,
She was
yeah.
really smart, made a lot of money, and used that money to help a lot of people over the years.
Yes, yes. She
Um,
spent millions of dollars buying kids books to
mhm.
read. And for me, there's no higher calling than that, except for maybe coming up with a cure for cancer.
Well,
So
she did spend a lot of money helping to fund vaccines for COVID as well.
that's
So there's that.
certainly true. That is certainly true. Yeah, she was up there at the plate, swinging away at everything that she should have been swinging away at, and I admire her greatly. And it'll be a while before we see the likes of her again.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think she probably came into my realm or of understanding with 9 to 5, which was
Mhm.
a breakout acting role, I would say. And she didn't spend a whole lot of time acting, but that role just seemed um, the character that she played was a very much no nonsense, caring, good person, and it just seemed like that was not a heavy lift from who she was.
No,
Maybe
no.
she's just a great actress, but it just seemed like that's who she was.
She held her own and then some up against two, arguably three of the finest performers of the day.
Yes.
And that is breathtaking when you're right out of the box. This is your first big movie. Congratulations. Here's Jane Fonda. She's only won about 1 million Oscars. And here's Lily Tomlin. Oh, that guy, the bad guy, he's Dabney Coleman. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well,
She was fantastic.
she was great. It was a wonderful thing to watch. Just
Yep.
wonderful.
Um, anyway, I would also recommend that an interesting tribute that I enjoyed reading. There's so much stuff on Blue Sky, but also on Julie Benson's site, Writing and Whatnot. She had a pretty nice tribute. You can see that on my Blue Sky as well. And I thought she did a great job putting it together and how much she meant to her.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while since we've had, had to take some time to talk about a passing, and I guess that's good. There's been plenty around. Many people passed away. Roger McKenzie's passed away recently.
That's very sad. Roger was a great guy, and funny guy. Always loved hanging out with him. Hadn't seen him in a few decades, so I'm particularly saddened. Always hoped I'd run into him at a convention somewhere. That just hasn't happened.
And I do want to mention the passing of David Lampier as well, comic book letterer who
designer
passed recently. Yes, absolutely, yeah. Very sad. I know a lot of people were really hurt by that passing. So we want to mention people who've contributed to the things we talk about, the things we love, and who've passed, just as much as we celebrate the people that we have on the show. So thanks for letting us take that time. I do want to turn to something else that's going on. And this, you weren't here last week.
No.
We did have a really good show with Oliver, but
I was actually recuperating from the week before, and 2 weeks ago today was an interesting day in our life.
Sure, let's talk about that first. Okay, and then we'll get to lanterns. And we do have guests coming. They hopefully will be here shortly. They know that we're going to talk for a bit, so they'll probably come in on the time that I told them to be here.
They know me.
2 weeks ago today,
forever.
That's fine. 2 weeks ago, we were on our way to Chicago, and we had a fantastic time. It was really wonderful. Getting together with old friends and seeing Chicago and getting the foods and the smells and the sights and the tastes and all that. However, we were impeded on our way to Illinois by the derecho that went through northern Illinois and Indiana, and you and I were stuck on I-90 for 2 hours without moving.
Also in Ohio, but we were stuck just outside of Gary. That was wonderful.
Right.
But it was better for us than for the folks who live there.
Sure. It has been 2 weeks today, and I don't think that Gary, Indiana still has power yet. And
no, they're talking about maybe someday soon.
And I'm going to say this because I just don't understand how a city of that size goes without power. I don't understand how the infrastructure is built that way. How there's not been a emergency response to help better than what we currently have. I know that there are, after 12 days when the mayor had to go and say, "Hey, we still don't have power," there's been some reaction.
Right.
But it took 12 days for the mayor to go out and say, "Hey, look at us," before the people started responding.
I suspect he had other things to do during those 12 days. I got to tell you, there are places in this country, Texas is the biggest of them, where this sort of shit happens a lot. Not every day, certainly, and not necessarily because of tornadoes, although the tornadoes that hit Texas, that's the start of the tornado belt that goes through Indiana. I'm not surprised. I've seen tornadoes in white areas of Michigan, southern Michigan, that were out for 2 weeks. I've seen that happen. And I think the main problem is the same. It's that there's not enough money there or political interest to spend what little money they have to fix this stuff up before it goes down. Before it goes down. Texas needs a whole new grid. They need to join the rest of the country. Indiana, the Midwest, guys, you're in a tornado belt. You know that. This happens a lot. Not as bad as this, but go to our federal government and tell them to grow the fuck up, put some money into saving some real lives, and quit bullshitting around with this Canada crap. Your turn.
Yeah. Yep. I we're almost out of summer. And
We
it
think
just feels like it feels like the news gets worse every day.
it does.
And more surreal.
It does.
And today we're talking about somebody wanting to just, if you don't get their way, obliterate the Kennedy Center and build an outside amphitheater.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
Rome or something.
Well, I like outside amphitheaters. However, I also like the Kennedy Center. I think it's a wonderful place. I think it is one of the most genuinely American institutions in Washington, and that's saying a lot. This is where we get together not to celebrate our differences, not to bitch at each other, but to share in our cultural heritage. And that bastard just wants to tear it down and put up something with his goddamn name. Anybody named Trump who's not related to that bastard, I'm telling you, you're going to want to change your name soon.
Sure.
Go ahead, wind me up.
It's frustrating. Let's let you know what. Okay. I want to talk about. Let's talk about lanterns. So you have seen you're ahead of me. You've seen this week's episode. I've seen last week's episode.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love it. Now, some people are always going to bitch about something because it's not exactly like something largely unrelated. Movies and TV shows and comic books, 3 totally different media, 3 totally different storytelling techniques. I like this Hal Jordan. I read the first Hal Jordan story off the racks. I can even tell you where I bought it. And I've been a Green Lantern fan for decades and decades. I like Hal. I like most of the Green Lanterns, I guess. But this one is interesting and totally appropriate for the story that they are telling. So if you don't like this Hal Jordan, it's your prerogative. Don't watch the show.
Here's what I like this Hal Jordan too. I feel like, this was what I expected. Let's put it this way. I am enjoying the show. I am, but I am not terribly surprised. I expected the tone that it has. I kind of felt that that's what they were going for from the beginning. They told us that that's what it was. Like, I knew that that's what we were getting, and I'm happy. I think they hit their mark. I do like this Hal Jordan. I also like. I've not seen Kyle Chandler in a lot of things. I know he's been in a lot of things, but I haven't seen him in the things that he's been in. I didn't watch those things. But I will tell you the other thing that I like so much about this is I like the things that Kyle Chandler is saying about the show. I mean, yes, he's out there trying to promote it. That's part of his job. But the way that he's saying it, he's talking about, how he appreciates the craft of everybody behind the scenes, the writers especially. He's called them out several times about the story that they're being told, not only just for his character but for other characters.
Yeah.
The rest of the staff involved in making it. And I think that shows a lot of, again, he's an actor. You don't know if he's acting through this, but what he's portraying to the audience is somebody who cares about what they're doing, and hopefully that's true, and that he would then portray that to on the set, which it feels like there's a lot of cohesiveness. And I want to get back to, we're going to come back to, I think it's been long enough, and there are memes out there and out the wazoo about probably one of the most important scene in episode 1, which is the interrogation scene. And he sits there, and I don't know if you've seen these, but the memes are insane. And he says that about trucks, about football, but what do you know about this or that or Barack Obama? And the person says Barack Obama is the 44th president of the United States. And he says, you, a rural Nebraskan, the breadth of your information about Barack Obama is the 44th president of the United States. There was some, discrepancy about his birth certificate. He says, wow, you really are an alien. And I think that's hilarious.
I agree.
I mean, again, this was a great interview setup. Like, he's not like the concept of Green Lanterns being space cops, right? They are order enforcers. They're not necessarily law enforcers, like a cop is. And so I wouldn't expect for somebody, in this backwater Earth to be, rigid in,
right,
following Miranda laws and stuff like that.
They're also not quite soldiers or in a military type situation. The chain of command is pretty weak, and hell takes advantage of that. I got to make a comment about the second episode, which I realize you and probably many others have yet to see. When you do see it, pay close attention to the entire episode, and I think it runs long, because there are more really, really cool Easter eggs, and I normally don't get turned on by that. I normally, it's fun, right? A couple, cool, whatever, it's nice. And if you don't get it, as long as they don't get in the way, what the hell, right? Here, there are some fabulous hardcore fan Easter eggs. And when you catch them, you're going to love them.
I'm looking forward to that. I always love that, especially like the Arrowverse, especially in the first couple of episodes of those shows where you get, the corner of Grell in this or something or other. And
this is even more complicated than that.
I believe you. In episode 1, the first Easter egg that I noticed was that it's in Sheridan County, which is a nod to Tim Sheridan, who's written a lot of Green Lantern lately. I love it. The other thing on Easter eggs, I know you're not a fan of this, but I have been also catching up on season 2 of X-Men 97. And there is a scene.
I don't dislike it. I've only seen one episode. I liked it. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot. It is something that's season 1 is pretty straight narrative. Season 2 breaks off into multiple time zones and narratives. So it's a lot. It's even more. If season 1 was a lot, season 2 is even more. But there's a panel scene in episode 2 where they're looking at a dossier of Apocalypse, and on the side it's written. It says L. Simonson and Jay Geis or Geese, because they created Apocalypse, and it's like written in thing. And I thought that was fantastic. And I didn't intend to pause it. I was just like kind of like pausing and like, oh, there's that.
Yeah, I love them. So many of these shows, most will work in references, and this has been true since Smallville, probably before that. But they will work in little references because you got to name a street or a building after somebody. In the early Flash show, the first of the Flash TV show, the movie theater, which I'd been to, it's just a front for nothing, but the movie theater was named after Carmine Infantino, and I
remember there being like Easter eggs in that show. I'm surprised though, with knowing Howard's involvement, that there were nods to old DC folk.
I was going to say the same thing. Howard Chaykin was one of the story editors of that first TV show. Would have been a producer if there were a second season, but there wasn't, because ABC kept on changing the time slot roughly every 15 minutes. They break for a commercial, you had to go find the new time slot. And that's a shame. It was a good show. But the Infantino Theater, I thought, man, of all the things they could have picked, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's switch to some comics news. There was an article on the Beat that I think it was today, and it was something that I missed a couple of weeks ago. There has been a what do we describe this as? Let me grab it. So there's something called the Ink Alliance, and the Ink Alliance is a collective of Black-owned comic shops set out to demonstrate that they can make things happen. So there's a new New Titans 38, which is coming out, which is the return, I guess, of Static to the New Titans. And there's a variant cover that the Ink Alliance, this collective of Black-owned comic shops, together, I guess, commissioned, and it's Sanford Green's art, and it has sold out. And I love that. I love the fact that this place exists. There are other exclusives planned, as well as more Black-owned shops already applying to join the collective. I love the concept of collection of collaborative work in this industry, no matter how it is. I love the concept of comic shops working together to succeed. And obviously this is a slippery slope, because we don't want to impact. We want the comic shops to make money. We want the comics to continue to be purchased by the comic shops. We want the people to be able to buy the comics. And you are a veteran of the concept of franchised comic shops, and at least the plan for such thing, which was a long part of the discussion on our trip to Chicago. But
that's true. That's true. I don't know about franchise comic shops in the current environment, but I am all in favor of people of mutual interest, no matter what that interest may be, getting together for the greater good of themselves and whomever else should have been in that room at the same time. It's a big, ugly world that's changing every 32 seconds. We need all the help we can get. And anytime people say, yeah, we're getting together just so we can talk about our needs and our future and how we can all act cooperatively. That's cool, because not just because they're getting together, but because one or two or three of them are going to be representing that group in meetings with other groups. And that's how we bring about good stuff.
Absolutely. This is the cover, the Sanford Green cover for New Titans. That's part of this Inc. initiative, and it's like already out. Like people are, hope if you have it, you can make some money off of it. I think right now, secondary market's already up to $130 on it, which is crazy. But regarding the Inc. initiative, so one of the things that they've said is that the bigger mission of it is getting awareness about their stores and getting the news out there. They haven't had much publicity for a black-owned comic shop since Amalgam Comics, which is referring to the Philadelphia black-owned store that closed down in 2022. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to hear about it. It's good news, I think.
And hopefully it'll bring some stability in terms of exposure of their characters to the Milestone universe. I've always felt a little weird that they kept on trying to tie it into the DC universe and never quite succeeded. Either do it or don't.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
No,
there's so many of these things that try and fail. They're not that hard. There's made up towns. There's a made up town called Dakota. That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's a town named after two states and a Native American tribe.
Yes. I think. Well, I want to talk about the fact it is. We've been through some of the award season, but there's still some other awards to be voted for at the end of the year type of thing. I think there's still the opportunity for people to vote for Ringo Awards. I know there's still some days you can vote for Harvey Awards if you're so inclined. But I want to take a minute and talk about the Ignatz Awards, which are presented at SPX, Small Press Expo in Bethesda, Maryland, in September. The voting ends Friday, September 11th at 8 p.m., which is crazy, right up to the minute. But I'm going to put the link of where you can vote in the chat. But what I do want to highlight is that up for an Ignatz Award this year is for it is under the category of Outstanding Comic. It is Antimatter #1. The one-man anthology of Dean Haspel's Deep Cuts. That is up for Outstanding Comic, and we wanted to let Dean know that we are supporting it, and I'm going to put the link in there. There's some other great stuff up there that I've seen. Drome, which is Jesse Lonergan's massive tome, is listed is up there for Outstanding Story, I think. There's some interesting categories. There's a lot of really cool stuff. You should go and get all the things. But anyway, I did want to point out that that's up there.
The Ignatz Award is perfectly named. And I should point out that Dean is a busy little bugger because he's up for a couple of different awards this season.
Yeah, he's also up for a Ringo Award. I don't know if it's for that or Chest Face. I'm not sure which one.
I think it was Chest. I think it's Chest Face.
It's fun to recognize people. And the best part about any comics awards nomination list is it gives you a lot to read. It's a good place to start.
That's true. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's very true.
So yeah, we are. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make it to SPX this year, which is disappointing.
Why is that?
Work. I
Work.
will be in Denver that weekend.
You got to learn how to say that like Maynard G. Krebs. Do you know who Maynard G. Krebs was?
Is that from Dobie Gillis?
Dobie Gillis. That's right.
It's Bob Denver.
Yeah.
I'll be Bob Denver in Denver. I'll be Denver.
Yeah, there you go.
See, I'll be in Denver, and you want me to be like Bob Denver?
Denver. Yes. Yes. Yes, I do.
Everything coming together.
Yeah, we got a couple guests getting hold.
Yeah, well, they're not here.
Oh, well, then we should babble for
we're going to keep babbling. I hope they show up. I haven't seen anything in my inbox to see that they're not. I will forward them in a following email, but we're going to talk about some other stuff. Well, we have plenty to talk about, and hopefully they'll get here.
Okay, talk.
You say something.
I've said a lot.
Okay, well, here's what we got to go.
I'm eating animal crackers, folks. There you go. Animal crackers.
Have you read the new Archie yet?
Which one?
The
Oni?
The Oni one.
No, because you've got a copy and I don't.
Well, I will get it for you. I haven't read it. I was hoping you had. I downloaded it, so I'll get it to you later.
I see.
That's coming next week, though.
Yeah, I'm trepidatious.
I know you are.
I'm not because these are all new people. That's fine. New people come all the time. We have hospitals and stuff. Or that it's a new publisher, I guess. It's just that we've had so many different Archie relaunches that it's easy to get pissed off if you like several of the earlier ones.
Yeah, I get that.
Somebody's honking. Are you honking?
Well, it's probably my it's not a honk. It's a weird noise from my phone.
Okay.
Making a lot of
okay.
I'm getting alerts. It's a weird time in comics right now, especially for where things are in terms of the big two, as well as new things hitting the rack. There's not a lot of big new number ones, which I think we get towards it's like comics waits till September, October to do new stuff. I think that we're going to get new Avengers then. I think there'll be some other new DC stuff. There's definitely some interesting new indie stuff coming out, but I want to talk about for a second about the concept of comics publication and solicitation. It's really hard to do this. It's hard to make comics, first of all, and to get them out. And once somebody wants to say something and get some news out there, then there's a big gap from the time something gets announced to the time that something actually shows up. There are two methodologies on this. One is you don't say anything until you're ready to put it out there. But the other part is you want to get people excited. You want to give people a reason to hang around. There's that. So there was a bit of a controversy over the last week or so about the fact that a bunch of the stuff that was announced in last month at San Diego Comic-Con related to DC's Next Level stuff is not in the November solicitations. So therefore people, well, yes, but does that mean it's never happening? Because that's the take that people started to take, that they were just fooling us, and there's not going to be a Vixen, and there's not going to be a Steel, and there's not. Give people time.
This tomorrow, Wednesday, if you're watching this on tape, tomorrow they release those stupid little collections of like previews of upcoming first issues, and this one is the whole next level thing. So even though the first issues have yet to be solicited, I think they're kind of publicly telling people that they're going to do it because they're releasing this book tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. I haven't been to my comic shop in a long time, and I'm going tomorrow. And I'm going to catch up. And I cannot wait to read comic books. One of the things, let's talk about our trip for a second.
Okay.
One of the fun parts about our trip, and I absolutely have to say this. We went to Challengers Comics in Chicago. What a fun time. What a fun shop. You know, Patrick and Dell are just fantastic people, and they run a great comic shop. And one of the things that I loved about it was the variety and accessibility of new to midly new graphic novels. And I picked up some. And I have read those. And I enjoyed them. Dork is one of the ones I read. You're familiar with the concept of Dork?
I have seen the book. Yes,
you have seen the book. I've read the first volume now, and fantastic, fun, entertaining in the realm in the spirit of ElfQuest, and in that realm of fantasy craziness, but you know, a little madcap, a little bloody, a little. I really enjoyed that book. I also read. Oh no, I lost the name of it. I read the new graphic novel from Ian Boothby and Pia Guerra. Frostbite.
Yeah, I have not read that. What do you think?
It is good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was super entertaining. It is definitely aimed at a younger person than me, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy it, right? Like, it's definitely aimed for the teenish realm of stuff, but it's a little horror-y, a little scary, a little
horror-y.
Yeah,
I like that word.
I mean, there's snow vampires. Snow vampires are good, and it's beautifully drawn by Pia. I am such a huge fan of hers. I have been for years and years. And yeah, it's really good, and I was so excited to be able to read some things that I have seen in solicitations and things that I've put up on new number ones that I don't always get, reader copies of, and then they don't show up at my LCS when I want to get them. So it was really good.
I'd like to make another comment about Challengers, if you don't mind.
Yes, please. Please do.
I've loved that store since the day it opened, and I've promoted that store as in, well, if you happen to be near here, go there, because that's a great comic book store. And it is. It is just one of the finest in this country or Canada, but we can't go there anymore.
Well, we should go there.
Yeah. I'm hoping they'll give me a hard time coming back. Anyway, if you were there like 15 years ago, you would see almost as great a graphic novel and trade paperback type presence as you saw 2 weeks ago. They really understood how to make that work and how important it is to make that work. And in that way, they kind of trailblazed their way into comics as we know them today. I will point out one more thing, and that is that they are swell humans as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that not just because they named a whole shelf of their stuff after my late wife, Linda, who died 16 years ago and loved that store. And so does our daughter. Adrian loves that store. And probably that's the only thing she was jealous about during our trip was that store. These are good people because the full name of the store is Challengers Comics and Conversation.
I love that.
And
yeah,
they mean it. They mean it. They mean it. You saw me and one of their customers having a long conversation.
Exactly. I mean, that was fantastic. It was one of the most interesting experiences that we had. Just decided to go over there after we had some Italian beef and
yes. Jim Wisniewski, I love you.
Yeah. We went and did that, and then we went over and we spent about an hour or so in the store just watching. It was Wednesday, so of course, why not go to a comic shop on Wednesday? It doesn't matter what city we're in.
It's a homing instinct.
It is, and just people coming in, picking up their stacks, people just browsing the stacks and picking stuff up. It's just a great experience and just a bright store. And
talk a little bit, if you will, about your impressions of that second room they have.
Oh, sure. The second room at Challengers is really wonderful. It is my understanding is at one point it was an art type gallery, and now it is a room of shelves of stacks of comics and graphic novels that is aimed towards younger readers, and I absolutely love it. I think it's such a great place for kids or younger readers to go and find things that they like. I love the fact that my local LCS has a section of their store, kind of not to the point of a whole room, but there's a nice section that's like, okay, here's where you guys are going to find the things that are really going to be interesting to you. It's not mixed in with everything else. It's just like, this is for you guys, and it's in a good spot. I really love that about my store, but in this particular, in Challengers, it's huge room.
I'll tell you why I think that their situation is a visionary situation. We've all been to comic stores where, the parents will come in and the kids will be bored and they're standing around, they're kind of looking at comics and they're trying to find something that will attract them, but there's just way too much shit and they give up and they try to get their parents out of there as fast as they can. Not at Challengers or places like that. They will wander off into that room, which is just off of the main room, and hang out and look at comic books. Look at comic books that they've never seen before, young adult comics as well. And they may even talk their parents into buying them a few because it's their room and they can find their stuff. Meanwhile, the parents are hanging out in the main room, having more time without their kids to look through the stacks of graphic novels and trade paperbacks and new releases and all kinds of groovy stuff. So from a retailer point of view, I think that is brilliant. But in terms of expanding our market, expanding the audience, expanding the presence of comics in America today, well, that's also brilliant retailing. And that's what that store is all about.
Absolutely. I One of the things that talking to them, they seem to be doing well enough. Um, this is not an industry where people go to get rich. Some people do, but some people get rich, but it shouldn't be your goal. You're more likely than not to be disappointed.
Some people open up a store, take their profits, and open up a comic book publishing company, and then 40 years later have both stores and a publishing company, sometimes not a job anymore. But
well, I mean, there is the Mike Richardsons of the world, and I get where we're going there. But
yeah,
but the point is, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged with the state of the industry, and I hope, and that's by being around it, being in stores. I go to a bunch of different comic shops, around the country as I travel. As I am at shows, I talk to people. I'm at shows and I see people. I see people spending money. I see people making money.
Yeah,
who are both creators and vendors and all these things. I hear anecdotally, we're doing good. It was a good show. It's a good year. And good is relative. Good means we can pay bills. To me, that's what we're talking about. And I think that's what they're talking about too. Hopefully that continues. It's a weird thing because the economy does not feel good. It does not feel stable. It feels odd, but I see people spending money in this industry. I see people spending money at movie theaters. But I don't know where that is. It feels uncomfortable, and I'm not sure how this is going to end.
Particularly,
I'm particularly with the threat of military to fix the bond market.
Oh God, I don't even know how you do that. But you put your finger right on the problem. It's hard to get economic security. It's hard to feel that the economy is doing well when the people who run the nation are malicious, greedy thieves, lying bastards, and unbelievable cocksuckers. You can't feel comfortable being governed, and I use that term very loosely, by the type of people who are polluting our planet today.
Yeah. I that's how I feel. In the meantime, besides that, I'm excited to see publishers doing well. I'm excited to see creators doing well. I am, as I said, I won't be able to be at SPX this year, which is disappointing. But I will be at Baltimore Comic Con. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be there this year. But we're getting ready for that. I've been working with the folks, Adam Phillips, who handles the programming. So there's a bunch of panels I'm going to be hosting there. People are getting excited.
Say hi to Adam for me.
I will, of course. And then I'll be at New York. We'll figure out something to get together there. It's been an interesting year. We're almost there. Listen, I'm almost at the end of the fiscal year, so it's like the world's it might as well be in Christmas. So I'm getting ahead of myself.
I have worked on so many government-funded programs that I know exactly how you feel. I know that you tend to think the fiscal year is the real new year because who knows your work it is.
Who knows if we're gonna be working after it? There's that.
After you're looking to make it to that point. Yeah.
Oh, we'll be okay. We're funded till then.
You think?
What have you read recently that you've liked? Something within the last 6 months?
Well, something that didn't last 6 months. Oh
No,
no, now
something
you're
that's something new that you've read. Then you can talk about something old that you've read. What is a new? What's a series that you're enjoying right now?
I have I'm drawing a blank because I've been reading a ton of new comics over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
When I travel, I load up my iPad with comic books, and when I'm at home, I read the ones I didn't read while I'm on the road. So I've been doing an awful lot of that, and I've been enjoying an awful lot of stuff. I just wish any of it would come to mind right now. The older stuff that I'm poking around in right now, stuff that I'd read in most cases maybe 30 years ago, in some cases perhaps not at all. And that is the Jules Pfeiffer written spirit stories from the late 40s and early 50s. That by and large were not drawn, although they were edited by Will Eisner. Because you look at it and you go, well, that's not Eisner or Granzinetti or any of that crew, so screw that. Well, no, Pfeiffer was an amazing writer, one of the best writers in comics history. Didn't get a tenth of the credit he deserves for that, and I am enjoying the hell out of reading his stories, like I said, for the first time, if at all, in decades and decades. And all that stuff was reprinted by DC in the latter volumes of the Spirit Archives. And it's out there. It's available. You can find it. It's online. Some of it I think is public domain, although Dennis Kitchen is a friend of mine, so I probably shouldn't say that. That's the older stuff. I'd have to stop and think, which is something I don't do during this show. You've probably noticed, about what lately I've read that's new, that's really exciting. I've read a bunch of stuff, and it's all colliding in what passes from my brain.
Sure, I know that feeling because I have that when I catch up and read a bunch of stuff at the same time, or just consecutively. I'm like, oh, I'm good, especially if I am. I go through my week's work if I'm caught up, and then I say, okay, well, I'm going to read these books this week because they came out this week, and I'm caught up on them, so I know what happened in the last issue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Right.
And then you're like, well, what did I read? But you'll be ready when you get to when it comes out the next time. You'll be like, oh yeah,
that's right.
Reading that.
I'll tell you what I will be reading probably tonight.
Okay, what's
the first two issues of Vampirates, which we talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago. And I said at the time that I would be reading the first issue, and I was on the road, and by the time I came back and organized my brain cells a little bit, there were two issues. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Looks great. Looks great.
It is. It's super excellent. I haven't read the second issue. I read the first issue. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'm just I'm at a point right now where I just want to go read some comic books, and it appears that our guests are not going to join us, and I apologize to anybody who was looking forward to seeing that. I don't have any reason as to why they're not joining us. Haven't heard anything from them particularly, and they did, kind of somebody at least from ElfQuest reshared out that we were going to be live tonight. I don't know if it was somebody who works for them or not, but
look, shit happens.
It's disappointing. Yeah, it does. It does.
I do. Hopefully, Wendy and Richard will be able to make it, for a reschedule, mostly because we, as an industry in America, owe so much to Wendy and Richard. So much.
Absolutely. And they were absolutely very much looking forward to talking to you when I talked to them and set it up. But in the meantime, I do want to take a minute, since they're not going to be here, and talk about one of the things we were going to talk about tonight with them. Is there's a Kickstarter running now for Wendy Pini's The Mask of the Red Death by Wendy Pini, which is something that Wendy did online in like 2008, I think. she's been working on this for a couple of decades now. Actually, she has readapted Edgar Allan Poe's short story "The Mask of the Red Death," modernized it, introduced some themes in it of some more accepting modern themes that are in it. She's super proud of it. Flesk Productions is going to print it for them, and we were going to talk about this with them tonight. I know that she was excited to talk about it. She's very proud of it. I will put the link to this Kickstarter in the show notes, so when anybody does look for it, it's already funded. There's plenty of different options. This is something that she wanted to make into a play, a musical, and there's been songs written for it. But this is the physical copy of remastered from the I think web version that she had written and drawn some years ago, and it's definitely really something people might want to take a shot at.
How long does the funder have to run?
A week. That's why we're doing this tonight. It's got September 3rd, so next week, next week sometime.
Okay, well,
9 days to go.
I'm looking forward to this. Not just because it's Wendy's work, and I read Fantasy Quarterly #1 off the stands, so I've been a fan of hers going way back. I'm amazed at how many. Watch this come back to Lanterns. At how many brilliant adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe's work have been done over the years in all media, in comics, movies, and television, records, audio. The earliest audio books really were 33 1/3 RPM records of people reading Edgar Allan Poe. People will make their contributions because Poe mostly wrote, pretty short stories and poems, so you'd have to flesh it out in order to tell a full story. My late friend and collaborator Stuart Gordon produced and directed quite a few TV and movie shows based upon Poe's work. And of course, you, Bob, live in the town best known for where Poe died.
I've been to his grave.
Yeah, and it's one of the more interesting stories around, actually. Tell it to the people.
Well, which one? About his grave being moved?
No, about you wind up with that, but start with how he died.
Well, he died in Baltimore. He died drunk on the street. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure he was drunk.
Well, I will tell you I don't have it all at the top of my head, so I apologize for that. But I will tell you my favorite experience in the past 5 to 10 years with Poe is that I happened to be in Boston. Now you said you're in Baltimore. That's where he's best known for. We have a football team named after him. My car is actually named Poe.
Is it really?
Because it's black. Yes, we call
the one I was in.
Yes, it's Poe.
Oh, cool.
But I was in Boston. It was a shitty day. It was raining. I didn't have an umbrella. I'm walking around Boston, and all of a sudden, there is a statue of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
Standing in Boston with a raven and a briefcase and a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, why is this here? What's going on? Apparently the story is that he was famously unhappy with the city and complained about it verbally and probably literarily. And the people of Boston were incensed in the fact that they made a statue of him so he could never leave.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yes. But there's a festival that happens here. There's a Poe House that is a museum and a foundation that for Edgar Allan Poe in Baltimore. And there's a Poe festival around in October around his birthday and stuff like that. We've been to a few times, and uh the location of his tomb is right there at this cathedral area, and it's lovely. It's a great place to go. It's within walking distance of where the Baltimore convention center is actually. So, well,
Right,
walking distance for
right.
me. I don't know about you. I don't want you walking that far, but
Well, no, I have in the past because I've done that
sure.
show a lot. But also, um, the whole neighborhood is just reeks of Poe. If you just
Oh yeah.
look around you, at the
Mhm.
bars and whatever, and that's really cool considering really that's where the guy died. Now there are all kinds of interesting explanations for his death that do not involve him just drinking himself to get to death. And that happens with a lot of old celebrity stories, celebrity death
Mhm.
stories. I get that, but Poe deserved it.
Sure.
Poe's life should have been all about Poe's storytelling, and it was,
Well,
or at least it
that's
ended
true.
that way.
That is true. The the interesting thing was with his gravesite was that there was a mystery visitor for
Yes,
decades that would come and leave presents on his grave on his birthday or death date. I don't remember which one it was, but eventually that stopped, and so that person we believe has passed. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but
That was cool.
that was
Whoever
very
it
cool. That's very
was,
Poe.
whomever that person was, my hat is off to you, even posthumously. That was brilliant.
It's
Uh,
interesting about
just brilliant.
him. I feel like uh, Poe and Shelley are um, the ancestors of comics and sci-fi and fantasies, like all the things that we love. Because um, I mean, they're the beginnings of the things that have turned into the nerddoms that we surround ourselves with. Um, and it's interesting
Oh,
because like you think about like I knew who Poe was and I knew about his stories and I knew about that stuff, as a young man reading. But when I was reading Young All Stars in the 80s, I also found out that Roy Thomas was a huge Poe fan
yeah,
because he integrated Neptune Perkins' heritage into being a descendant of Arthur Gordon Pym. And I'm like, this is Poe here. What's going on? And obviously, Wendy, fascinated by this short story, The Mask of the Red Desk, and so many others that that the tropes that he set forward in the stories he set forward have become tropes that we use that are um, useful devices for telling a story, that you can
absolutely.
take the scaffolding of the things that he put forward in some of these amazing stories and then wrap your own you know edifice around that scaffolding, and it's there for you.
I think that Poe should be credited as one of the inventors of the pulp fiction genre.
Yes.
Absolutely. Stories were for short story magazines in those days and also for the next 80 years. The primary fiction vehicle were short stories published in these pulp, what we call today pulp magazines, and they were of all different genres. And many publications in the 1800s would mix genres. So it wasn't like, okay, this is a science fiction magazine, this is a mystery magazine, whatever. No, you'd have all kinds of different stuff, and that was Mr. Poe's medium it was the only medium around. I don't think he was sitting around wishing that somebody all of a sudden would invent, audiobooks. But goddamn, if you start drawing lines from what happened in that medium after Poe, you come straight up to ElfQuest.
Yeah, of course. We've talked about it before. How I feel about ElfQuest, and I'm a little disappointed that they weren't able to make it. Hopefully, everybody's okay.
Yes,
and
they're not in the Canada right now.
Well, hopefully, maybe they are. Maybe they fled. Our good friend. I mean, our good friend Dan Parent is revealed on his birthday that he now has a work permit for Canada. So that's good for him. He's excited.
I know. I envy him for so many reasons.
Yeah. But ElfQuest was, here's the thing about it, and this is why it's important. I think that there's everyone in my generation and somewhat younger, there was something brilliant, and I don't know if this was Jim's deal or Archie, because Archie edited it, but the fact of Marvel reprinting and colorizing the Warp ElfQuest, which was magazine size, that I don't know where you would have gotten it then. I don't know where you got that Fantasy Quarterly #1, but
I'll tell you.
Well, you hang on a second. But I was able to go into the Krausers or Cumberland Farms and buy ElfQuest on the rack, on the spinner rack, because it was there. And that was something different. That was not superhero or Archie. It was fantasy. And that didn't exist. That was a genre that was not available on the spinner rack until they put the ElfQuest out in the epic run, which is glorious.
Yeah,
where did you buy from?
I agree.
Fantasy Quarterly #1.
Larry's Comic Book Shop, owned and run by Larry Sherritt. Store.
We were discussing Larry.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, we were having a good conversation about Larry.
Yeah, he had actually just sent me an email about an old supermarket, but that's a different story. Larry started his store around 1971, maybe. It's a long time ago. It's a very long time ago. I was living across the street from that store for about 3 years, which was just perfect because my then girlfriend lived a block away. My comic book store, there was a great little restaurant around the corner, and the L was right there. So, and a beautiful old school movie theater. I loved that neighborhood, and that is where I encountered Fantasy Quarterly #1, and my first response was, "What the hell is this?" And Larry's response was, "I don't know, something somebody's trying to try out. It's kind of interesting. You should look at it." And I did. And here we are today.
Sure. I mean, like I said, I think I picked up issue 2 on the rack the first time on the epic run. And and I'm like, oh, and I immediately found one, and I kept getting them. And it was so I had like the first, I had it from the beginning. Like I got one quickly. So maybe I even bought one. I don't know. It was such a great, that first opening arc and into when they meet the second tribe of elves. It's just such an important bit of storytelling. And just, wow, for somebody who hadn't done much prior to that, the level of storytelling, both visually and narratively, just phenomenal.
He came out of the gate wholly formed as a cartoonist. And boy, that's remarkable. That's
It
really
is.
remarkable. And let us also point out that at the time of the creation of ElfQuest, there weren't exactly a plethora of women creating new and successful comic books.
No, and
And,
that was in 77, 78. It was
yeah,
85 before I found about it, but I remember it being in 85, reading it and saying, "Holy shit, this book was written and drawn by a woman. That's
yeah,
crazy and cool." But
it is.
it was shocking at the time to me. Even like I was aware of it, um, and um, I told people about ElfQuest my whole life. It was the first book that I told an adult that they should read, and they liked it.
I was lucky enough to be in an elevator with Marie Severin around 1970. So I knew better. But I'm a lot older, so that works.
No, I understand that. But do you know? Are you aware of how that happened? I mean, hopefully we'll get them on and we'll talk about it. But like this, the concept of Marvel doing those colorizations and reprints. Like I said, Archie edited it, and Joe Duffy was associate editor on it. I don't.
Yeah, well, we could ask Joe. Sadly, we can't ask Archie, but we could also ask the Pinis when we land them on the show.
Which we will.
I think that must be a good story, and if it's not, I'll apologize. I'll apologize afterwards. But we should talk to Joe. We should have Joe on the show.
I'll try and do that. I will
send her a note. Tell her we talked about her a lot. Joe was on the panel on my last appearance in San Diego, which was during COVID, and there was no San Diego show, but they had this whole thing like what we're doing right now. So we had this Zoom panel with Joe Duffy and with many other folks. I mean, I can't even begin to explain that one. In regards to our mutual, sadly then late, friend Denny O'Neill, and it was a wonderful experience. It was. I think I even have that file here somewhere. It was really beautiful.
Absolutely. I have not met Ms. Duffy, so well, I have to probably rectify that. In the meantime, we are going to be back next week, and I will guarantee that our guests will be here. Don't
worry, I have an unlimited ability to come up with really obnoxious crap.
I'm aware of that. That's not the point. The point is that I've been actually looking forward to having these guys on for a while, and Julio Anta and Jacoby Salcedo are going to be here. They are the team behind the Blue Beetle YA graphic novel. They both have done so many other things, but they are coming back together for a new series that's an image series that launches next Wednesday. So we're going to have them the night before their launch. I'm looking forward to this. I see these guys at shows, and it's just lovely to talk to them. I can't wait to get for you guys, our audience, to hear them and get a chance to see them.
Wait a minute. Tuesday, September 1?
Mm-hmm.
This is like we're in the last 6 days of August?
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah. Next Tuesday is September. That's why I'm saying the year's almost over.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, we still have a few months. I guess. I keep on thinking like we're going to have our first 90-degree Christmas this year.
No, it's cooling off. It's been pleasant so far this week. Hopefully,
just the last few days. That change. It won't. That changes right now.
All
right. On that dismal note, the weather will get better. It will get worse. That's how it works. thoughts.
All right, folks. We'll be back next week, as I said, with Jacoby and Julio. Very excited for those guys. You will be lifted by Jacoby's presence. He is a ball of optimism and excitement, and just a pleasant gentleman. I can't wait for you to meet him, and I can't wait for everybody out there to hear and see them as well. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, read more comics. They're good for you. And Mike,
you guys have yourself a great week, and be cool out there. Times are rough. You're going to need all the sanity you can find, and you can always take a break by reading a big old stack of comic books. Thank you for being here,
everybody.
This has been a production of the Pop Culture Squad Network. PopCultureSquad.com. How do you nerd?